What is up? What is up? Welcome back to another NBA Rundown brought to you courtesy of Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets. I'm your host, Brett Astaire, with Travis Mangone and Tyler, and we are here to break down a three-game slate in the NBA. And Travis, we're pretty smart, right? Because you and I both like to break these games down. So on a three-game slate, we can keep the show in under an hour. How are you doing today?
Yeah, we'll do our best. We'll be able to, I think. This is not, I don't know, it's not the most glamorous three-game slate, but it's a three-game slate. We're here. I don't mind these slates that much. So I don't know. It's sometimes you can just kind of condense some things down and really break it down. And sometimes you can find a gem. Sometimes people are always like in DFS, they're like, oh, I hate these three-game slates, but like sometimes you fall upon a three-game slate where people just like are making a massive mistake. And like on Sunday, I felt like people were making a massive mistake. I wasn't going to play NBA. And I said, let me play NBA DFS. It didn't go exactly the way I planned, but I did profit. I felt like I did a good job with it, though. And I think there are edges that you can find. So hopefully along this show or the Hardwood show or the Final Countdown, which there are 3 opportunities to watch NBA content over here at Run Pure, we'll be able to find those edges for you.
Yeah, and it's funny, Travis, talking about the three-game slate. When it comes to betting, I don't necessarily like the three-game slate as much because there's not a lot of options. But when it comes to DFS, I kind of do like it because there's not a lot of options, right? It's like, I don't get confused. It just seems like a lot easier for me. Maybe that's as a novice. I'm only able to process 3 games properly at a time.
Yeah, one more thing, spread to mention too, with like the 3-game betting slate. You know what this is good for? Practicing like your like bankroll management, right? Like it's hard not to be like, oh, let me fire this and that. Like I think it's like you can learn in that way. Like I think sometimes like with it being less games, people just they want to make a bet. They want to find the best bet. And like sometimes it's just not there and it's okay. Yeah. And then some days there's like 6 best bets because it's a great situation. Like yesterday with Tyler on that Bills game, there wasn't just one best bet and you move on. I mean, there were some bad lines in the prop market. So that's definitely something you can, practice here. I mean, there's always ways to get better and improve. And I think that's a great way to do it.
Right. But the great part for me is I'm actually not going to be doing that today. There's a lot of spots that I particularly like, and I'm pretty proud of myself for anticipating some live movement. Tyler, what do you think of the 3-game slates? Do you prefer them or do you like the big monsters like we're going to have tomorrow?
No, I prefer the shorter slates better than the monster slates.
Yeah.
Because the monster slates, I just find so much I like, and I just can't pinpoint the props I want to bet. I'll get like 12 of them, and it's like, I don't want to bet 12 of these. Yeah. I'd rather just have the 3 games. You find a couple you like, you could pinpoint them and just hammer them.
And quick update. So I'm wearing my Run Pure shirt, Tyler, right? The only one who entered was Jonathan Nelson. We only had 1 comment yesterday. So we'll do a quick reminder, guys. We want to give away a shirt like this, right? And we're not trying to make it too hard. It's just for fun. And I know, like, I'm not offering you like $1,000, but it's still a pretty cool shirt, right? The idea is you follow Run Pure Bets, you retweet this show link, and then you put a winner in the comments section of the YouTube, not in the chat, in the comments section, right? Because it's timestamped there. And I can go ahead, and if you get a winner, Jonathan Nelson entered yesterday, but he had the Suns. I had the Spurs, so I was happy they won, but we're not able to give the shirt to Jonathan Nelson. I'm sure he'll try again, but I'd like to see some more people, guys. I know it's only a shirt, but hey, let's get involved, have some fun, and we'd love.
I'll say this, Brett. It's easy win because not enough people will do it, right? So like, it just someone will miss like one of the steps. They won't hit the like or something. Like there'll be one person that probably makes that mistake. And I'm gonna tell you right now, those shirts are good shirts, man. Like they're top quality. They're not like, this, I'm wearing a garbage shirt right now that I got and I've probably had for years. But I do wear that shirt pretty often. I like wearing it like when I go out, or it's like a nice workout shirt, right? If you want to wear just a t-shirt and it's just nice and comfortable and it's not like, one of these crappy comfortable shirts, that's the shirt you can wear going out. So definitely think it's a good idea to, get in on the bets.
All right. So Tim's making a comment. When we put it in the chat, we did say chat comments. And guess what, Travis? We have more than 1 shirt. So let's go ahead. Tim had the Warriors. I can go back and check that. But from now on, we're going to do it in the comments. Okay. So we'll write that up properly.
Mistake by spread. He will make sure Tim gets the winner. So congrats, Tim. But now we have to change it to the YouTube comments.
The YouTube comments on that. Like. Yeah. And I'll go ahead and put that in there. So Tim S119, go ahead and DM Run Pure Bets and go ahead and we'll send you the t-shirt out, all right, at the Run Pure Bets account. So that's a lot of fun. But hey, guys, we're going to do it again today because we have more than 1 t-shirt. So it still stands. And, I'll throw those in there. Let's talk about these games because the line movement is what I like to see because I've some days we don't anticipate the injuries right? Like, especially when I talk to you guys on the show, Travis, and I'm saying, well, I think he's going to play. Today I got him right. So Luka got ruled in now. I'm talking about the Brooklyn Nets, who are -1.5, heading to Dallas to take on the Mavericks, +1.5 right now. But this line was as high as 4 earlier today, opened at 2.5, shot to 4. Now it's down to 1.5. We look at the injury report. Porzingis, Luka, and Hardaway all on the injury report for the Dallas Mavericks. But this line indicates to me that Luka is going to play. I don't know how much the others really move that line. Porzingis a half point maybe. I don't think Hardaway moves it at all. Travis, let's start with you. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I'm currently seeing probable on all of them, on Porzingis, Luka, and Hardaway. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think they play, obviously, with the probable tag. So, man, tougher, obviously, to roster someone like Porzingis in this spot. They will need, I mean, they're going to need Marcus Aldridge's sides on the opposite side. It is a 3-game slate, though, so yes, you can make arguments that Porzingis in tournaments could have upside, all that stuff, but I typically don't mess with him here in this spot. I don't think I need to. I do think Aldridge at 5'7", though, is definitely in play because they're going to need his size for sure. I mean, it's just simple. So, like Luka as a spend-up stud, the debate is it Luka? Is it Harden? Is it Kevin Durant? I think that's one of the keys on this slate if you want to make him one of the spend-ups. I do think, and I know I'm going off the board to a different game, but it matters because we're talking about the studs, and there's a lot of studs in this game. What do I think of him versus the Lakers studs and Jason Tatum? Or versus DeJounte Murray, or versus Julius Randle. And I kind of lean that Jason Tatum is a stud that I want to get into my lineup. So I think Jason Tatum is like my favorite stud. And then I'm trying to figure out which stud to go to. Is it Luka? Is it KD? Is it Harden? The thing that's kind of nice about those studs as well is they're not as expensive as like a Luka is or a Curry is. And it's only a 3-game slate where sometimes raw points just matter a bit more. So I do think I'm trying to like navigate. Do I play Luka? Do I play Harden or KD? I think those are the 3 guys. Besides Tatum, I'm trying to figure out what I do with. So that's kind of my breakdown on how to handle this spot. I think Aldridge, another guy, really good play. Like I just mentioned before, is one of those mid-tier guys. You could always make a case for a Tim Hardaway Jr. if the shots are falling, but it's not the greatest spot for him once you add Porzingis back into the mix. Jalen Brunson at 5'2", I don't need to go to. And I just wouldn't be shocked if like one of these Nets does pop up. Like, could a Patty Mills at 4'8" pop up and have a ceiling game? Yeah, it could certainly happen. Could a DeAndre Bembry pop up at that 4-3 price tag? Yeah. And the thing that's nice about Bembry is he's guard and forward eligible on this slate. So there's a lot of different ways you can kind of put him into your lineups as a value. Not some elite value play that you're looking to just jam into your lineups, but it's just kind of worth mentioning. There's not just one roster spot for him. Shooting guard, small forward, and utility. A lot of ways he can kind of fall into your lineups. And at that price tag, we know he can have a ceiling of like 30 fantasy points, which at 4-3 on a 3-gamer, it's definitely in play.
Great breakdown. Just to answer your question real quick, obviously I don't run the projections as well as you, but just from watching, right? Like I like to do spend ups, and I think most betting guys could do as well. I think the value is harder. I think Durant is the way to go there tonight. I just don't see who the Mavericks put on him to really slow him down. I think they have better options to slow down Harden, right? Because I can go with Bullock. Right. Even DFS, right? I can try and go big on him. I mean, Patty Mills even, right? I mean, there's ways to slow him down. Who are you going to put on Durant, right? Dwight Powell, Porzingis, Hardaway. I mean, every single one has an easy matchup advantage there. So I like KD here. I also like Brooklyn minus the 1.5. I'm not big on totals right now because I think I'm worried that Dallas lays an egg here. Otherwise, I would go over here. But I don't have a play on the total. Tyler, what are your thoughts?
I mean, you hit it on the head. I agree with you. I don't know who they're putting on KD tonight. You look at his points prop, 27.5. You look at his recent games, 28 points, 30, 27, 39. I think he's definitely getting up over that 30 number tonight with nobody on that team even close to being able to guard him. I also like his rebounds over 7.5. You look at his rebounds the last couple of games, 10, 10, 5, and 9. This is another spot where Dallas really doesn't have a big man with no Willie Cauley-Stein. Like, yes, Powell will be out there. Porzingis is 7'3", but he plays mostly on the outside. So I could see KD getting a double-double here. So I like that over 7.5 also.
What is the Mavs starting lineup going to be, Tyler? Do you have a read on that? Because I think that's really important here.
My guess is Luka, Tim Hardaway, maybe
So
Brunson
Hardaway's the
jams
one
in.
I'd be most worried about sitting.
You think?
It just seemed like he had the worst injury, where the other two were more like maintenance.
The
Let's say
probable
he doesn't
tag
sit,
makes
does
me
he
think
even
though that they're
start?
going to
Because he
play.
wasn't starting before. I guess maybe he starts because they still have Jalen Brunson off the bench there.
Yeah, Jalen Brunson's been playing the 6-man lately in the ideal lineup, I believe.
Okay, cool. I'm trying to think it through because this matters a ton, right? It always matters who you're on the court with. And like, man, like, so if you do the double big lineup, the Mavericks, like Tyler's bringing up, like KD's going to crush them. Like, who's going to guard him? There's no one. So I'm guessing
like the only other guy maybe you plug in is Reggie Bullock.
I think it's Dorian Finney-Smith. I think he's the guy that's going to try and defend KD. I'm not saying he'll do a good job of it, but I think he's the guy he's the only physical guy I can think of that can actually pull that off, right? And by pull it off, I mean contain it, right?
Yeah. Because they're not going to put Kleber on him. He doesn't stand a chance, and nobody else on that roster is even close enough to size advantage.
And then if you do that, like, who's the where do I just don't see how I don't see how this Dallas Mavericks big man lineup works today. This double big. Like, I feel like you have to go. I don't know. Do you go Porzingis at the 5?
I think the only reason you can get away with it is Aldridge.
Yeah.
Because when Aldridge is in the game, you can counter them with double bigs because he doesn't really have that 3-point shot. He works the best in the mid-range. So I can use a big on Aldridge. I'm not really worried about him beating me off the dribble there. But I understand your point, and I think a lot, Aldridge is only averaging 28 minutes per game. So even then you can only run the double bigs, 25, right?
Yeah, I'm trying. I mean, I just feel like there's holes here on this Mavericks roster tonight, and I'm trying to figure out how to take advantage of it, right?
And this will be Luka's first game back from injury, right?
So he's been playing through with it, but he sat on Saturday night.
Okay.
But even so, he heard it a little while ago. He was averaging like 26 since the injury, since he turned it. So it's pretty interesting. Yeah. So We the People, he agrees. He thinks that Brooklyn and the under. And hey, We the People, if you want, retweet the show, throw it in the comments, and you can be in the contest to win a shirt just like this one. So
yeah, I like that. I like that call. I like Brooklyn. I think I haven't given my take on the game yet, but I think I like Brooklyn here, even on the road. I'm just not a big believer in this Mavs team, and they just go a little bit smaller, or not small. They spread their rotation too much, and like currently right now, the Nets are playing their guys. Like you see Katie and Harden, they're getting minutes. It's not like they're just playing those 31, 32 minminutes. So yeah, I lean the Nets here, even on the road.
And they've had some rough performances on primetime, but they were 11-3 in November. I mean, they're winning basketball games, especially against teams they should beat. What were you going to say, Tyler?
No, you touched on it. Those 3 losses they had, I think 2 were to Phoenix. The other one was to Golden State. So
yeah,
we've seen those are the 2 top teams in the West. But I agree with you guys. I think Brooklyn's the play this side. And looking at these player performance doubles, KD 30-plus points and then win the game plus 330. I think that's definitely worth the bet.
I like that too. Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next game. Another one, this line move, man. This was +3 earlier today. Like when I was looking at the lines, 6, 7 a.m. on the West Coast. This was the Spurs were -1 now. Okay, did we get injury news there? The Spurs were catching points earlier.
Vassal's the only one I see out.
This is unbelievable.
They must know news is coming.
Wow. Okay. Well, I like the Spurs at +3.5. I don't like it anymore at a pick 'em or laying points. I don't know. I guess I do. My idea here is that, I guess I'm not going to switch, but I wouldn't bet it anymore. I like getting the points there because number one, I didn't think New York's going to blow them out. I think even if they lost, it was going to be close. I mean, they lost by 4 to Phoenix last night. Now, granted, that was on the road. They had to travel. New York's been off since Saturday. But still, man, this New York team just doesn't seem like they are clicking right now. I think they're feeling the pressure of the weight of expectations playing in New York. And also, they kind of got away from their identity, adding Fournier and Kemba, and now they're trying to get it back. And they just seem like a team in transition. Now, I'm not writing the Knicks out for the year, but I'm not high on them right now while they take care of this transition. And they're going to have to prove it to me before I back them. So I guess I still like the Spurs here. It's just, I sent out an article this morning at +3.5. It's -1 now without news. That's just wild to me. Travis, what do you make of that line move with no news? And who do you like in this game?
Yeah, the first question I have is Spread. Do you have their defensive numbers since they've gotten rid of Kemba? Do you know that, or can you find that quick? I'm asking like a tough task.
So off the top of I can't find it, but off the top of my head, that it hasn't improved that much, and that he hasn't actually been that bad.
All
I
right,
don't
'cause-
know
'cause
about
they were-
if he got benched, but his on-off numbers, like the defensive rating, actually wasn't that much worse.
Well, the Knicks weren't even like that good defensively, right? And like I think DeJounte Murray is a guy that he is expensive, but he's worth like thinking about in DFS. He's only 9.5. He was 10.3 the other day, so they put his price down a bit. So I'm not ignoring DeJounte Murray on DK today. He's definitely someone I think you can consider because I'm not scared of this Knicks team right now. I mean, they're just not a team to fear, and I think that's one thing that is being taken into account. And the Spurs have definitely been better against bigs. And well, what is the Knicks like strongest point? I mean, they're big men, right? I mean, Julius Randle is one of their strengths on this team. And when he has his struggles, the team kind of can go down with him. So I think that's one thing to think about a little bit on this slate. DFS wise, I think the Spurs are definitely in play. They have some good value plays like Jakob Poeltl's price has not gone up enough. Keldon Johnson's price not gone up enough. Lonnie Walker on a slate where you're going to need some stars and scrubs. He's only 3.4K, so I'm not going to ignore him there. I think he's an interesting option. And it's definitely a spot where I think liking the Spurs is definitely in play. And I don't hate the Spurs bet. I just think this Knicks team, when you see these teams in a bit of a transition and a bit of a struggle, JJ talks about it in baseball. You know, I think you can apply it in a lot of sports. Why jump on the Knicks now? I'd rather just jump on this Spurs team. I think the Knicks are just trying to go through a lot of growing pains right now, and I think this is a good time to stick with the Spurs who have this little bit of a tighter rotation right now with some guys out, and I think it's helping them and benefiting them, and they're just putting the ball in their best usage guy, right? They're just saying, hey, this is DeJounte Murray's offense, run with it, and when that happens, good things happen. So I do think that it's a pretty good spot for the Spurs.
So my question for you is this. We know they played a tough game in Phoenix last night, and if you watched, I mean, that was a pretty physical game. Is there an idea that there's more value on guys like you mentioned, like Lonnie Walker, these bench guys? Because and I don't know this, off the top of my head, but my inclination is to believe that Pop's going to be a little lighter on his minutes tonight for his main guys, and that the bench players might get a little more run, right? Just in anticipation of these guys tiring out in the fourth quarter. Pop's never been shy to not overwork his players. Am I kind of going towards the right way here, Travis, or do you think maybe I'm overthinking it?
No, you're not wrong. So this is where, and I can try and do it now as best as possible. I'll look at it before the hardwood show for sure.
Okay, I'll watch that for sure then.
I think it's important to look at like when they played the back-to-backs and like what has happened. What have the minutes been? And I'm going to try and find like some examples on, Popcorn Machine and see if there are any. I'm sure they've had some back-to-backs. So I'm sure we can find some spots where it's been the case. And Pop can definitely be frustrating. And if these Spurs are going to be chalkier, then yeah, you can make the case that embracing some of the variants of Pop doing some wonky stuff is worth embracing. So,
and that's why I didn't bet it at 3.5. I thought the line was going to move. I thought like Derek White or some of these guys would be ruled out. Just
I don't think they'll get ruled out, but I think
do.
you could see maybe the minutes be a little bit lighter on some of the guys. I'm
okay.
I'm gonna try and find it now because I haven't found a ton of I'm trying to see if they've played any back-to-backs this year, and that would blow my mind if they haven't. And they haven't.
They have to have.
No, they haven't. Spread. Actually, there's one. Denver and Milwaukee, but that's the only one. It was October 22nd.
They've only played one back-to-back? Wow.
Yeah.
You learn something new every day. That's good knowledge, Travis.
One back-to-back this year, unless I can't read the calendar properly, which I'm looking quick and, I'm on air, I'm talking, there's a lot going on. So maybe I'm only seeing one back-to-back this year, and it is the second to third game of the year. Denver, it was at Denver, and then they went and played Milwaukee, which that's kind of nice because at Denver and then going home against Milwaukee, that does seem like a spot you would kind of mess with your situation. So let's find it. I'm going to it now, and I'm going to check it out and see what happened. I have to go all the way down. Sorry, a lot of scrolling happening here, but
how about this? You look it up, Tyler.
Yeah.
I still like the Spurs. I was just worried I was going to get nuked with news. That's why I didn't jump in and make the bet already. I thought it might get to like +5 if a couple of the big names were ruled out. And then, of course, if DeJounte Murray was ruled out, I could just stay off it altogether. What are your thoughts on this game? And are you surprised by the line move? And what do you expect from your Knicks?
No, I mean, I'm not surprised by the line move. The back-to-back kind of concerns me. I also think it's one of them games where we get late news, and the books already know that's why these lines moved. But
somebody knows.
Yeah, somebody knows something with this game, with this line movement, because it's not just Vassell moving this line.
Yeah. But Andrew G, I thought the other two I thought were pretty easy to.
Yeah, with Jaylen Brown rolled
guess.
out and Dallas's
Yeah.
big players rolled in. Like those numbers moved the way they should have.
Exactly. And there's LeBron and Anthony Davis, they're on the injury report every day. So I just expect them to play until I get news that they're out.
But yeah, I was looking at the props in this game because it wouldn't surprise me to see the Knicks win after the Spurs played that physical game last night.
Mm-hmm.
It also wouldn't surprise me to see the Spurs give the Knicks some troubles as they're, just like you said, they're trying to work things out and they pull off the W. But the prop I identified I like in this one, we said it when they pulled Kemba out of the starting lineup. They're going to put the ball back in Randall's hands more.
Mm-hmm.
And his assist prop still 5.5. You look at his numbers without Kemba in the lineup, 8 assists, 6 assists, 8 assists, 4 assists. So, I mean, he's putting up numbers. I like that over 5.5. And I also like DeJounte Murray over 7.5. And he's at that number 4 of his last 5. In the one game he didn't, he had 7 assists.
Did you watch the game last night?
No, I didn't. I just tuned into the really boring football game.
I can't remember. So I think they're down by 6 or 4. DeJounte Murray gets the steal, right? You think it's the easy break, and there's like less than a minute left. So I'm like, that's how you cover, right? Like I'm yelling at the TV, right? Chris Paul makes the most amazing block, and I'm just pissed because even I can't even say it's a foul. Like you watch the replay and you're like, that was a good play. They ended up covering for me anyways, but boy, I was sweating that, right, Tyler, after it looked so good in the first half. So overall, so I love the prop that you said, especially the Randall one. Because Murray's, I think, I'd be more worried about the decreased minutes here. But I love the Randall at over 5.5. And who did you like on the side?
I didn't really have a take on the side because
I didn't miss it.
It seems like a game where it's like a coin flip. The line's kind of weird with it being moved and nobody's being rolled out. So just a stay away on the side for me.
All right. Travis, did you find anything more about the back-to-back history of the San Antonio Spurs?
Okay, so for just this year, which it's not everything. Also, I'm in the camp Pop has not been as bad as he used to be. Like he used to be a disaster with it. He's been a little better.
I think it's different when you're running a championship team too, right? I mean, like there's no playoffs for saving DeJounte Murray.
It's also different
right?
when your team's all like 35 years or older.
Yeah.
And now you got a bunch of young guys you can just keep running and they'll be fine.
Exactly. So I want to at least give Pop a little credit in that department because I think he gets yes, at times he can be a little weird with stuff, but man, so they played, and it was only second game of the season, so it's a little tougher, but I don't have popcorn machine to see all the rotations, but the minutes seem strong, and I'll just read you the starters minutes. So here is the Denver game. 31 for McDermott, 37 Keldon Johnson, Podol 26. Looked like he had 4 fouls, so he could have had some foul trouble. Derek White 37, DeJounte Murray 35, and then off the bench, they went 6 deep, but the guys they went deep with, 1 for Jones, so that doesn't count 1 minute, 9 minutes for Thad Young, 13 for Eubanks. So those guys soaked up the center. So they naturally really went 9. And then Vassell and Walker saw 20 minutes each. That was the Nuggets game. Now you go over to the Bucks game. 32 minutes for McDermott, 29 for Keldon, 35 for Podol, 31 for White, 34 for Murray. Then they went deeper, right? Primo had 1 minute, Landell, Bates, they all had 1 minute, 5 minutes for Jones, but it was still very similar. Forbes had 14, Walker 25, Vassell 19, Eubanks 13. The point I think I'm getting at here is even off that back-to-back, it was fine. So I'm not as worried about the starters and studs, right? If you talk about a Podol, you talk about a Murray. I also think you can make arguments that Alani Walker, he's the guy that I think gains minutes, right? Coming off the bench. Those guys that gain minutes are the key. I think it's not a bad spot for these guys. It's going to be a close competitive game. The Spurs are also a team similar to what we talked about on the show, the Hornets. So, I mean, we talked about possible blowouts there against the Sixers. And then, as we kind of discussed it, we were like, these guys are grinding it out. They played the Hawks last night. I think if that game did blow out, yes, you could see the coach lean off them. But if it doesn't blow out, and again, the spread is 1. We're not expecting a blowout here. We're not trying to think that's going to happen. And the Spurs are, where are they? They're 8-14, a lot worse than I thought. I thought record-wise they'd be a little bit better, but it's early in the year. I'm sure they're going to want to grind it out, and it's a winnable game. So I think I'm not as concerned about them as you might think. That's something that do you worry about Podol maybe getting foul trouble? I guess you could make an argument for that, but I don't think I'm going to take this into account. It's too much guessing. I just think it's perfectly fine. They're good options in DFS. And I know like we talked a lot about it, but I do think it's important and it matters. And some of these Knicks prices, those are important and matter too. They have gone up. Alec Burks is at 6.5 over on FanDuel. And then DK, his price tag is, what's his price? Because he has gone up for sure. He's definitely not like a bargain guy. Yeah, he's 6'7". So on this slate, I don't know if I'll go to many Knicks. The Knick I would go to if I go to any is probably Randall. I know I talked about the matchup could be tough, but if he's going to be low owned and at that price of that 9-1, it is a nice little price tag for him if the game does stay close and he does, play a lot of minutes, which he should. I think it's going to be a spot where you can consider him in tournaments. So that's kind of the breakdown there. I know there's a lot going on and we talked about a lot of different things and it's a little gray, but I think that you should feel more safe with the Spurs after looking into things and talking about it.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I also like the under here. I think it's going to be a close game that's low scoring. But also, if the Spurs lose, they're getting blown out, right? Because they're exhausted. This was a smash spot for the Knicks, right? And maybe that's what everyone's betting is that fatigue fade, But I just like the under. I just think that, if the Spurs win, it's probably close. If the Knicks could win, it's a blowout. It goes under. I guess I'm worried about that close game going over a little bit. But with the extra, add the extra percentages for a Knicks blowout. I like the under. Tyler, do you have a side on the spread?
I'd probably take the
total.
under here
I'm
too.
Sorry.
Yeah, I know what you meant.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd probably take
Long
the
day.
under here.
Yeah.
Even though New York's defense has fell off a cliff since last year, like that's what they're trying to improve.
Mm-hmm.
And the Spurs, I mean, they should run a bit in this game, but I could see them laying off after on a back-to-back. So give me the under.
All right, Travis, any thoughts on the total?
Yeah, I think you can make arguments the over on the game could be good if you think. I mean, we know both teams don't play a lot of defense, and the Spurs play a lot faster pace. And when you do play at a faster pace off that back-to-back, your defense can lack a ton. So I do think that I like the over a little, but it's a slight lean. It's nothing. I'm not really a big totals better. So yeah, I think I would lean that. I think it's going to be a good competitive game though. And I lean the Spurs side. I just want to kind of fade the Knicks right now as they're kind of figuring out this situation. I mean, it depends on the spot for the Knicks too, right? But this doesn't seem like a good spot for them in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's a tough spot for the Spurs. I just think they're so much better at this point as a team. I think they actually have more talented players out on the perimeter, younger, quicker. And then, like you said, Randall, I think they might have the answer for him. Let's move on to the last game. The Boston Celtics heading to Los Angeles to take on the Lakers. This line moved because Jaylen Brown was ruled out. That, like I said, it didn't surprise me, though, because they've been real careful with his hamstring, and he didn't look 100% in the games that he played when he did come back. Line was up to 4.5. I should have hit it there. I thought it was going to keep moving in that direction. Pop back down to 4. I'm going to keep monitoring that, and if it keeps going towards, if the Celtics get more points, I'm definitely going to jump in. Right now, if you have me make a pick, I will take the +4, but I'm greedy. I want a little more here. But I like Boston to get it done here, and I'm not really sure what to make of this total. It's 218.5. When LeBron's in, I like unders, but there's been a ton of the games going over lately. The players have figured out the new rules. They're not wasting possessions hunting fouls, right? Because that was the thing. They're throwing their hands up, and then, it's just a turnover. Now that they're not doing that anymore, offenses have got a little more efficient. Oh, Jonathan Nelson. I actually don't have a lot bad to say about the Lakers. You know why? Because I ruined all my my ranting about the Raiders yesterday. So it's the next game, Jonathan Nelson. I don't have it in me to bash the Lakers today, but I do like the Celtics, if that counts. I think that they cover the +4 or maybe went outright. Travis, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's tough. The Celtics have definitely been a struggle this year to back, but I'm not a huge Lakers guy, and I think DFS-wise, I'm not going to be playing many of these Lakers, and I do think it's a big spot for Tatum. I think he's going to, show out. You get the Dennis Schroeder revenge game.
I knew you were going to say that right as I was clicking on his name at 6,400.
Yeah, you gotta love it, right? I mean,
yeah, this is a legitimate revenge spot. This isn't like, oh, we lost a couple weeks ago, right? I mean, he's got to be legitimately upset about that.
Oh yeah, he lost some money too, right? Like money hurts. He's not happy. So I do think it's a good Dennis Schroeder spot. It's not just that too. It's not like, oh, I'm just playing him. It's like, well, there are guys out. Jaylen Brown is out. He's Schroeder's gonna soak up some usage. So I like him. Tatum has always showed out in the, not always, but it does seem like when he plays in Staples, he's a big Kobe guy. When he plays in Staples, he likes to play. He likes to show up. So I do think he's going to, be a little more motivated for this game. DFS wise, obviously no Jaylen Brown's going to be good for Tatum. So I like going to him. I think Tatum is a good spot. And I like your under calls with the whole, LeBron being in, you lean the unders, but I do think you are right. They are starting to figure the league out a little bit more. They're stopping to go for those garbage fouls and actually trying to get like some better possession. So ultimately DFS wise, I'm trying my best to stay away from these Lakers. I don't think they're good spend up options. I think it's not the greatest spot. You can make an argument for the value plays though. The value plays to consider. I believe Dwight Howard is one that you can make an argument for. That's not like the worst play in the world. Dwight, I think they stopped doing that whole big man lineup thing where Dwight is getting a little bit more run because of it, right? Because they've gotten rid of DeAndre Jordan. So it's helped Dwight Howard a little. And I think you can make arguments that him and Enes Kanter could just go back and forth and like just go at each other at times throughout the game. And Enes has definitely been going off a bit and they might use his size a little more. Obviously that won't help defensively. And you should like the over if Enes is going to get more minutes. I don't know if he is, but that's something obviously to monitor when you kind of see how it all plays out. I know Enes Kanter went off in that revenge game. I don't know how to.
You mean Enes Freedom?
Sorry, Enes Freedom. You're
Thank
right.
you.
Yes, Mr. Freedom. My apologies to you. But yeah, it's definitely a spot where I think those big men at the center spot that are very cheap. I can't tell you exactly who the guy is going to be or what's going to happen, but I do think you can make an argument in tournaments if you're playing like 150, like taking shots on these guys is a smart idea because I think there is a ceiling there at that price. And with it being a 3-game slate and stars and scrubs being a good build in construction, well, I think those cheap guys are something you have to consider. So I wouldn't ignore them. I don't know the exact answer of what to do with them. I think Tatum, Schroeder, my two favorite plays in this game. I don't love a lot of Lakers, but I am looking at some of the value plays in this game and trying to figure out how they work throughout my lineups.
All right, Tyler, what are your thoughts here? Celtics +4, total 218.5, and of course, run us through those props.
Yeah, I mean, looking at it, tough to pick a side. I think it's gonna be one of them games. Great to live bet it. I think you'll get both sides at plus money easy in this game.
Good call.
The over, I think, is definitely a look because it looks like Boston's just running the score up with no Brown. It looks like they're not playing much defense. So
he is one of their better defenders, and he does like to work in isolation a lot. So
yeah, so he's
that
not
makes
slowing
sense.
up
They would do more motion
offense
without him. Yeah.
Yep. But looking at these props, I mean, there's a lot of low numbers. Anthony Davis, 22.5. You look at his recent game log. I mean, he's cleared that number a lot. 27, 25, 24, 23, 20, 30, 31. So, I mean, there's only one game he didn't get up over that 22.
Why do you think it's so low? Because of the return of LeBron? Because how many of those games was LeBron out?
I could have to double check that one. It doesn't show me the rotations on that. It just shows me the game logs. Mm-hmm. But I'd say he was in for how many games has he been back? 3 or 4?
I think he only missed 2, right?
Yeah, so I mean he was in for most of these games.
Yeah.
But the other ones I was looking at were Dennis Schroeder over 19.5 because just like you guys touched on, technically a revenge game.
No, this is legitimate. This isn't technically.
They already played once this year, so
I know, but still, he's going to be back in Los Angeles. This is the second time.
It's not the Staples Center anymore, though. It's the Crypto Arena.
He's still going to be pissed, man.
I know.
He's still going to be pissed.
Yeah, I think, we know Russ doesn't play any defense, so I like that 19.5 over there.
Yeah.
And then the other one I was looking at were rebounds for Russ at 7.5 because I could see him hounding some from Horford, who's slow on his feet now. He just runs in, snags him, and runs away with him.
And Horford's never been a strong rebounder. Yep. And Travis, you know what other revenge we can look for? Of course, we can't bet on this. Will it be revenge of the Lakers broadcast team? Because did you see when they played the first time and they interviewed Schroeder afterwards? The Boston team wrote, "Y'all gave Russ 44 mil."
I mean, it's telling you, he's gonna chuck up shots. It's whether they go in, right? He'll get his work. So I I like this game. I think it's a good one because I think there's a lot of opportunity here. And like I said, Tatum's 9.4. Like Schroeder's price is up at 6.4. So I'm curious if people do plug him in there. I'm wondering what his ownership ends up being, but I wouldn't completely sleep on like in tournaments, like nothing like if Schroeder did get ownership, right? Let's say people are all in on this narrative that Schroeder is, going to be mad. Like, is anyone going to play Marcus Smart at 6K? Like, I don't just see him getting ownership. And he's someone that I think could have a ceiling game in this spot. So would not completely ignore a Marcus Smart because he's probably going to be on, I believe he'd cover Russell Westbrook for a lot of the game. And Westbrook is one of those guys that he can turn the ball over a ton. It could turn into points. And he's not someone that defends a lot. So I don't sleep on some of these other Celtics too. This is a game that I like the Celtics side for sure from a DFS perspective, way more than the Lakers. And I don't have a strong lean on like the side. I think you can make arguments the Lakers could easily show up for this game. Celtics could. I like other betting spots here. I don't want to like go into these guys too much.
All right. Tyler, I think that is everything. We did pretty good yesterday, right? On best bets. So the pressure's on, right? I mean, did we get anything wrong yesterday? We swept the board, right?
I think the only thing I got wrong was the bonus rebound. He ended up hooking us. He ended up with 11.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Well, I mean, we killed the football show.
Yeah. Well, we're talking NBA now, but we did good on the NBA, right? I think Bobby's winner got there.
Oh, yeah. Bobby's winner got there.
Mine
Yours
got there. So, all right. 2-1's not bad, but we're going to go 3-0 tonight. And I will start with you. I love that Randall prop, but I want to hear what you choose. What
I mean, put the pressure on me first. I like it.
You want me to go straight to Travis?
No, I got it. Okay. I'll take it.
I love it.
We're going to go with that Anthony Davis over 22.5.
Okay.
I think he's going to tear him up in the mid-range and under the hoop. And just like they said in the chat, Scott Foster's reffing tonight. He might live at the free throw line tonight.
Wow. I was trying not to get into that, but I hope you're not right. Travis, what are your thoughts?
Is he reffing that game?
That's what our guy Pocket QB says, and he's usually pretty good when he's dropping info in the chat.
And Foster leads to more fouls, correct?
I don't remember. I usually only do ref trends during the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I know the Chris Paul thing, right? And like the heart, I know that all stuff, but
yeah.
Okay, I was just curious. I think best bet for me is the Nets. Is it -1 or 2? It's probably
you can get -1. Oh, it's -1 right now. I gave out a bad number. All right, it's -1 right now.
Well, I'm jumping on -1 for the Nets. That's gonna be my best bet. I just think this Mavs team, they're banged up. I don't think this is a good matchup too. With what they like to do. They like to do that double big lineup. I mean, it's just that is their more successful lineup, and maybe they'll try and ride that out. I just don't think it'll work if they do. So, and if they don't do it, I think they're going to have worse players and a worse lineup out there. So unless they decide to somehow go like playoff type rotations and play like Brunson, THJ, Luka, Porzingis to the five, it's not going to work. So we'll see what they end up doing, but I think that Nets -1 gets it home.
All right. Well, I like that play as well. I really like that Randall over 5.5 assists, but that was Tyler's research. I'm not going to steal it. So I will go ahead and take the under 211 in the Knicks and the Spurs. I think, it could be a tight, close game, slow paced. And if that's the case, also, if the Spurs end up not pulling it out, they get blown out. That's even better for me, a real tired team. So I like the under in the Spurs game. So you scaring me off that Boston side now, right? And plus I'm going to wait. If that moves up to 5, I'll probably jump in on that. I hate when I see a number and I think it's going to keep going and the buyback hits me. So the buyback's there, but usually when they've touched a number once, they're a lot less hesitant to move it right back. So I'm expecting a 4.5 or maybe a 5, and I'll be looking at Boston as well. But my best bet will be the under 211 in the Spurs game. Guys, just a quick reminder, you want to win this shirt, the Run Pure shirt, represent, when you're out and about, go ahead, retweet the show, follow Run Pure Bets, and leave a winning side, total, or prop in the comments. We will be back tomorrow. Travis, you want to tell them about all the great content you're producing this week at Run Pure?
Yeah, we will have the show today, the NBA Hardwood show. So be able to check that out. We also have a nice final countdown show. I can't confirm there'll be something special on it. There's talks of something a little extra. So,
wow.
Stay tuned for that on the premium show. I will not be on that, but there'll be something that we might be adding in there. So check that out. On top of that, what else we got this week? We got the Wednesday show, picking winners, me and Keg. I'll be on the Thursday and the Friday show for NBA. So be sure to check all that out. We got the cash show on Thursday. We got everything over at Run Pure, and we got all the content that you guys need. Tons of shows. So go to the YouTube channel, subscribe to that, subscribe to this one. You'll get notified when we go live. And as always, as JJ says, 2 thumbs up on the videos.
Yeah, and that's a great reminder, right, Travis? Because you can barely remember all the shows that you're doing this week, right? But all you have to do is hit that subscribe, and you'll go ahead and get notified. So please subscribe to the channel, and of course, the Run Pure Sports channel as well.
Yeah,
Tyler,
Spread, if you don't want to be like notified when it's live, you can take the notification off, and then if you happen to click on YouTube, it will put them up in like towards the top, right? That's another great way. Like
I actually did that. Yeah.
If I know the final countdown show is on or whatever,
Yeah.
or like, let's say I'm happen to just go on YouTube to check some other stuff out. It'll just kind of show up that, hey, this show is live right now. It doesn't have to notify you too. Some people don't want that notification. So that's another way to do it as well.
No, yeah, that's what I do too. And for me, it's 1:45. So every day at 1:45, I know to go on. But you're right. If I just jump on, and you guys are doing a football show, because I watch the NBA's pretty tough. Footballs are hit and miss, right? Depending on how my week's going. But it's cool to know, even if I just log on without getting me the notification that you guys are live. Tyler, do you have anything else for the people before we sign off?
Nope. I mean, you guys already hit it on the head. Just like and subscribe to both channels. Tons of content coming. We'll be doing the NFL video tomorrow and another NBA rundown. So
yeah,
tons of content.
Yeah, great reminder, guys. I had to push back the NFL show that Tyler and I do where we go over the totals. We will be doing that tomorrow, and we will let you know via the subscription to the channel. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.